Am I the asshole for trying to take back $80,000 of the $160,000 my spouse spent behind my back? My husband spent $160,000, quote, investing in baseball cards without telling me. During this same time, he would get mad at me for spending money on meal plans or salon services. I would get yelled at for my disrespectful spending and my financial goals not aligning with his. So he'd say he did most of the spending on his personal credit card that he's paid for with our joint account. For a long time, I didn't have access to our online banking, so I didn't see the amounts he was paying on his credit card.
Wait a minute, so you had a joint account? Listen, I'm sorry, all the comments that are like, she just says the thing from the Reddit, like she doesn't even add anything. I don't care, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. So you had a joint account.
A joint account that you didn't even have access to.
That he was using to pay off his personal credit card.
That he was using to spend on baseball cards.
I would add some comments, some useful comments if I had any. I'm just flabbergasted.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So I didn't see the amounts he was paying on his credit card. Whenever I would question a $2,000 or $4,000 payment, he would have some excuse and usually would say, it was on the family or grocery store. He would refuse to show me his statements.
Grocery store.
One day, driving to lunch, he mentioned how my friends owed him for the concert tickets I had used his card to buy. I agreed to get the money from them. In mentioning the card, though, I remember just seeing another $4,000 payment come out of our joint. This was after 2 months ago when he promised he had a $2,000 balance and was going to pay it off and stop using it. So I asked, I thought it was going to be paid off a couple months ago. That was all it took. He launched into me about how I ruin everything. We can't just enjoy the day. This is why my relationships never work. On and dropped me back off to our house and left.
Bro,
it was this outburst that made me realize there was more going on.
Yeah, this dude's got an addiction to baseball cards.
Yeah. After lots of back and forth and digging and finally getting him to give me access to his credit card statements, I added up $160,000 in 3 years that he spent. I already realized that financial abuse that has taken place on many levels, and there's so much that I'm not including.
Yeah.
During all of this, my husband met with a divorce lawyer, then begged me for another chance. This was about a year ago.
Oh. What? There's more? That's crazy!
We are still together, but as you can imagine, the financial issues are only one of the many issues here.
I can't imagine.
You need to get a divorce, yeah. At the time I realized what he had spent and that I was so ill-prepared for a divorce, I started transferring money from our joint to my personal every month. My goal over time is to take my half back, $80,000, and invest how I want to. He was of course mad, but I basically said, oh well, he should have considered me when he spent it, and I was only correcting a wrong. Recently, he made sure the money wasn't in the account when my transfer was scheduled. He did this 2 months in a row and said I could no longer do this. I waited for the money to be there and did the transfer anyway. He went nuts, telling me I'm a rat, he's selling the house, dissolving our business, etc., etc. He says that it's wrong for me to go tit for tat and that I should let it go. $160,000, just let it go. The money is just sitting in my account and I have not spent any of it. Am I the asshole for trying to take my half back over time? No. Am I the asshole for being rude to a man who commented about my tattoos? I, 28 female, am a woman with quite a few tattoos. It was hot this weekend and I was out running errands in shorts and a t-shirt, so you could see a lot of them. I was waiting a bit of a lengthy line at the store yesterday when an older man, maybe 50s, in front of me started chatting. I really hate small talk, to be honest, and wasn't really engaged. But then he whipped out this line. He said, "You know, you'd be a very beautiful woman. It's a shame you have so many tattoos."
I already want to punch him. Go fuck yourself.
I looked directly at him and loudly and clearly said, "I don't recall asking for your fucking opinion." The man was absolutely stunned. He spluttered a few times and said that he was trying to give me a compliment. I said, "Oh, is that what that was? Pay for your fucking groceries and don't say another word to me."
I'm in love with her.
He stared at me for a few moments and the cashier was kind of looking at me too. The man hurried up with his transaction and left. The cashier started ringing up my groceries, but then he decided to tell me I was super rude to that guy, and he was just trying to compliment me.
I'll go fuck yourself.
I was really sarcastic and told him his input was super valuable and left. Sorry, let me read that with the proper sarcasm. I'm sorry, hold on. I was really sarcastic and told him his input was super valuable and left.
That's all.
I try on the show, you know what I'm saying?
We both do, you know.
I told my boyfriend what happened when I went home, and he laughed about it, but it came up again at a family dinner, and half the people told me I was an asshole.
No.
I don't really think I was an asshole, but IDK, I'm just tired of people commenting about my body.
No. You're not an asshole. People should stop commenting on everybody's bodies.
Yeah, I agree with
general.
That. Yeah.
But if she didn't want people to look at him, why'd she give the tattoo? Because it was to make herself feel better, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, she did it for herself.
No one,
sometimes
especially
people do
women,
things for themselves.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for canceling a student's campus visit?
Ooh, okay.
For the past few years, I have consistently been included on family emails for what appears to be a bright, talented young woman with whom I share a name. My name is not unique, nor is it incredibly common. Think Olivia Tipton, parentheses, made up.
Okay.
My email is Olivia M. Tipton @ and I have no idea what hers is. Her mom's email is Karen P. Tipton @ something. The emails originate from the young woman's mother, and although this is an assumption, it appears to be somewhat of an overbearing mom.
Okay,
you've
listen.
got enough wrong emails from this lady that you
like,
know about her personality and her parenting style.
At this point, I would have admitted, hey, you got the wrong email, I think.
So we're going to get into that.
Okay.
That does happen. Writing the kids' presentations and speeches for her and then sending out to the family to edit. The entire family is editing this person's speeches.
Oh my God. Okay.
Presentations. I have responded to dozens of these moms' emails, letting her know that she has got her daughter's email wrong.
Never mind. Okay.
Fast forward to the past few months, and I start getting college visit confirmation emails from some pretty high-powered schools. Mom is copied on these emails. I write back to mom, only telling her that she used the wrong email. No response, and emails keep coming. I write to each school, tell them that there's been a mistake, that I have let mom know, and please stop emailing me. Most replied back, thanking me for letting them know. Mom copied on all of these. Well, last week I got another email from an Ivy League. Mom copied confirmation of a visit this week.
Oh my God.
Emailed mom, asked her to correct with the school. Got another email from the school today asking me to confirm or cancel the visit. I wrote back simply, I am 50 years old and not visiting colleges at this time. Mom was copied. Got a message back today confirming the cancellation. Mom was copied. I know I am the asshole, but seriously, if you had let the kid set up her own visit, she would have got the email correct.
Am I wrong for yelling at my boyfriend for making me leave my best friend's wedding? Oh my God, the red flags, I just feel them. They're emerging. I'm gonna be exposed to them shortly. My boyfriend, 27, and I, 26, have been together for 2 years. He's a good at heart and is normally rational, but his one issue is that he expects to accompany me in every occasion, no matter how big or small. He even went with me to my ex-boyfriend's funeral after days of begging. Oh God, no. Now, my best friend got married a few days ago. It was a very small and only close family and friends were invited. My boyfriend couldn't come because of the +1 rule. He pitched a hissy fit saying my best friend has no respect for my relationship and was shocked when he learned that I was still going to attend. He told me that if he can't go, I'm expected to not go as well, but that is my best friend and I had to respect her rules. He gave me an ultimatum. Either we go together or I stay home with him. I ended up going because again, I respected my friend's rule. He was angry with me and kept calling the entire 2-hour drive and then stopped. Later, I got a text from his friend telling me that my boyfriend got into an accident and was taken to the hospital. I freaked out and he gave me the address and I had to leave the wedding and told my friends why. I was crying the entire drive home and kept calling his friends but got no response. I arrived at the hospital and asked my boyfriend and they checked and told me he wasn't there. My anxiety reached 110% as I kept calling his friends one by one. I just went home and there he was, along with his friend. He saw me and said that he was sorry, but this was the only way he could get me home after after I left him alone. After the initial shock, I just blew up yelling at him about lying and making me leave my friend's wedding and having me literally go to the hospital and freaking out because of him. I kicked his friend out and we got into an argument. He kept talking about how much I love him, but I still left, which is my own doing and not his, and he was just trying to see if I really chose my friend's wedding over him. He then argued that my friend caused this and I shouldn't agree with her to exclude him. I said what he did was horrible and called him horrible and then went to my room. It was awful because my friends kept calling to check in on him because they thought he was really at the hospital. He said I overreacted and that I yelled at the wrong person. Am I the asshole? Did I go too far? Man, okay. If your question was originally like, am I wrong for going to this wedding, my friend's wedding without him? That would have been one thing. Where your question is, are you wrong for yelling at him the way that you did because of what he did? Read what you wrote again. And please tell me why you feel like you are wrong at all. This man manipulated you, right? Endangered you. He didn't think, hey, she has a 2-hour drive. She's going to be worried this whole time on the way home. Like, he didn't think about any of that, right? He wanted to prove a point. And he proved it. Get out, hide out, take out. Do what you got to do. Leave this man. Am I wrong for not giving up the house that I inherited? I, 29 female, was raised in a Christian household. With that came gender roles that were ingrained in me at a young age. My granddad, however, hated that my parents taught us this way, and as I got older, I did too. Because of this, I became very close with my grandparents instead of my own parents. I also have an older brother that my parents labeled the second king of the house. Oh my God. I hate when fathers refer to their sons as kings. Oh my God, please no. For more info, my grandparents lived in a beautiful house that had no neighbors, many trees, and a garden. They paid off the house after years and was very special to them. My granddad also had problems with his back and a condition that would get worse until he couldn't go on anymore. After my grandmother passed, he got worse and ended up needing at-home care. He didn't want a stranger in his home, so that wasn't an option. My parents preached that it was punishment for all of his sins, so they wouldn't take care of him, and they were planning on putting him in a home. I decided to stay with him since it would just be easier. My job can be worked effectively at home, and he'd get care from someone who isn't a total stranger. In the time I took care of him, we filled the home with the love and laughter my grandmother brought to it. As my granddad got worse, not a single call, not from my mom or dad or my brother. We were joking about it once, and he said, maybe I should just give you Missy, the house's name, instead of your dad. He's just gonna give it to your brother anyways. He laughed after he said that, so I assumed he was joking. Fast forward, the worst happened. I was the one who found him, had to make the call, all of it. As much as I pushed away from my parents, I didn't want them to find out the news from a random person. The funeral was the first time I ever truly connected with my parents in years. We hugged and cried together, and we were all vulnerable. But then it came time for the will. Now, it wasn't some telenovela with all the dramatics, but it was intense. The house that was supposed to be my dad's became mine, as well as many other things that my dad planned on giving to my brother. I was accused of manipulating my granddad into giving it to me, and my brother was just yelling. A week after, my brother came to the house in tears. He was begging me to give him the house since his was too small for his wife and baby. He argued that because it's just me and my husband and we don't want kids, I don't need it. I told him to leave and felt horrible. I felt like an asshole, and so does my family. He's right, I don't need the house. My job pays me good money and I could easily just live somewhere else. On the other hand though, my granddad wouldn't want him or my dad to have him. I am at a loss here. Am I the asshole? If you cared an ounce about your grandfather and you wanted his house, wouldn't you like smooch up to him and like, if he needed an in-home caretaker, I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. If I knew I was gonna get his house after, I'd feel so guilty. Like, yeah, I'll take care of you, no problem. But they were gonna play the, his sins. His sins.
My best friend, now boyfriend, chose me over his ex-girlfriend, and I can see that he is regretting it. My boyfriend was with his ex for about 4 years. They had a pretty nice and stable relationship. My boyfriend asked me for advice on choosing an engagement ring. I was always in love with him, but I never told him before. After accompanying him to see several rings, I broke down and told him that I love him and that it hurts me to have to do this type of thing, knowing that he was with his ex-girlfriend. He started acting distant towards me, and then I found out that he broke up with his ex-girlfriend. and a few weeks later, he started dating me. I was happy, but after a few months, he started to look quite unhappy and down. I've also seen that he checks his ex-girlfriend's social media frequently. A few nights ago, I found him crying in our room and found out it's because his ex-girlfriend is dating someone else. How do I fix this? It hurts me so much to see him like this, and I didn't understand that he chose me just because of our friendship.